Okay, The Hunger Games is back with part two, Catching Fire. Once again, we have Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss Everdeen. Again, Jennifer Lawrence is proving she's a great actress. She's not quite as good in the second movie as she is in the first movie. The first movie will remind you why she was nominated for an Academy Award once and won the second time she was nominated. This movie, she's merely very good, not quite brilliant. Um, Katniss, however, is still a bit of a prickly pear of a person. She's in a sympathetic situation and you're going to be on her side and root for her, but she's still not the most pleasant person. In fact, she's kind of fickle and that bothered me. We'll get to that later. Your villains. Now you have Donald Pleasance is back with his usual understated brilliance, but this time you also have Philip Seymour Hoffman as the new runner of the games. And he's another brilliant understated actor. And he has several scenes with Donald Pleasance, and the two of them together are just amazing to watch. Now, the mentor. The mentor, Woody Harrelson is back. I forget the character's name he plays, but again, he's a boozy, damaged man. He's a little more focused in this film. Lenny Kravitz is back. He's still good. No longer surprised by him being a good actor. I kind of expected it this time, and he did not disappoint. But this time, Elizabeth Banks, who is in the first movie, her character gets much, much deeper, and her acting is up to the task. And it was very interesting to see that character develop in that way. She's the woman underneath all of the makeup. Uh, for allies, you have a mixed bag of interesting characters. There's a lot going on in this film, and she has to make friends this time, which is something she's very bad at. Supposedly, she actually does a decent job at it. For enemies, it's a rehash of the first movie. There are a lot of very, very sick people involved in the Hunger Games, and it's pretty nasty. They're not quite as psycho as the first bunch, but they're much more lethal. Okay, the upside of this movie. The upside of this movie is all of the stupid handheld camera work of the first film is gone. This movie is actually directed with cameras that are trying to capture the action instead of flit around it. There isn't even a whole lot of shaky cam during the action sequences, and the action sequences are quite good in this film, so that's appreciated. You can actually follow the action this time. More importantly, you can follow the drama. There's no more shaky cam for hugs. That is over with. Awesome. The downside. This movie is Hunger Games 2 for real. Um, it's just another Hunger Games. Basically, the second act of this movie is a remake of the first act of the first film. It turns out differently, but you're watching a lot of the same motions with fairly similar results, and that's a little bit predictable. I didn't read the book, so I wasn't expecting that going in, but that's kind of what you get. Um, Also, Katniss is a romantically disloyal person. You've got the two guys. Gale is the dude that's played by Thor's little brother, who's not in the Hunger Games. That's Liam, I think, whatever Thor's last name is, and the other dude, Peeta, who is in the Hunger Games, and basically whichever one is standing in front of her, she's going to make out with, and that's kind of silly. It's I get the idea of being torn between two people, but she clearly prefers one of them. When they're both in the room, she goes for Gale. But if Gale's not around and Peeta is, she's making out with Peeta. I mean, really, it's silly and annoying, and I don't like that about the character. Um, in the end, however, the action is still good enough to be entertaining, though predictable, and the characters are different, and the mixed bag of people in the Hunger Games are different enough so it's not quite the same movie, combined with the fact that you've got much better cinematography this time. The camera isn't jumping all over the place. This makes this a better movie for me. My score for it is 4 stars.